Hey, what's up, fellas? I'm Malicious Female Fan Steve Malicious here today with the Amazfit Neo, a retro smartwatch that does have some functionality, but the best thing about it is the price. $39 Amazon. Link will be in the description, and for that money, you do get quite a lot. So let's start with the build quality. Plastic, as you would expect, but there's some benefit there. It actually keeps the device light, which we'll talk about being important in a few moments. But plastic design, you got plastic on the band. They were going for that old school Casio look and feel, and they've done it. You know, it's not that hard to accomplish. It's not like those were built out of some space age plastic or whatever. They were regular plastic, so to duplicate that it's a nice feel though. But if you're wondering what this overall construction feels like on your wrist, well, if you ever owned one of these, then you know exactly how the band feels, you know exactly the weight of it, and you can kind of get an idea of how it would feel on your wrist. The display is very nice. I really like the contrast. It's not mushy whatsoever. When light hits it, it's nice. You could read it. It's clean. A lot of times with these cheaper LCD displays, you get that you know what I'm talking about. You get that lack of contrast, and it just looks terrible. But they did a great job with that. Also, a clean, crisp backlight. You can activate it. Two ways to activate it. We'll show you in the app in a moment. You can have it set to lift to wake, which is basically it's always on. But the lift to wake means you lift your wrist, the light comes on. Or you could hold the back button for a second, and there it is. And you can see the nice crisp color. Kind of got that indigo old school feel to it, which is what they were going for, and it works quite well. But in addition to being just a retro watch, you do have the smart functionality along with all the perks of it. So you've got the app, which we'll show you in a moment, but we'll show you the different features that you have on the device itself that you will scroll through the watch face. Number one, you get the little icon for the weather, whatever's going on that day, as well as the low and the high, and then your time there. And as you scroll through, this is the do not disturb. So when it's on, you're actually not going to get the notification beep. And that's one thing. There's no vibrate functionality in this device. I guess it would add weight, or they felt like they didn't have space, or whatever it is. But it has probably, as one of the cons of this device, the most annoying piezo beeper you could possibly imagine. And I'm going to insert a clip of that so you all can enjoy it right here. But yes, that is it's enough where you keep it off even during the day, but it does work. You get a single beep for text, and you can add some other notifications in there, or you get multiple of those, like you heard there, for a phone call. So, you go through, stopwatch functionality, as you'd imagine, alarm, which I don't have set, this pi value that they assign to basically you working out. It's some sort of metric that they have for how much activity you do in a day. I don't really pay attention to it. You got battery life, which isn't on by default, but in the app you could add it to a screen to show you how much battery you have left. Heart rate monitor, which is good, useful. You have your world time, steps, distance, calories, and then back to the weather. But let me talk about the distance, because I actually wanted to make sure that this thing was doing what it was supposed to be doing. I paired it against my Apple Watch. I did a loop around, and the Apple Watch had it at exactly a half mile. I did the same loop on this one, exactly a half mile, and that's without the aid of the GPS, or maybe it's using the phone. I have no idea. But it was able to keep track just fine, which I liked. After a month of use, it's held up pretty well. It's not as disgusting as you would think just a plastic watch would be. It comes in three colors: black, this olive drab, and what I think, they're calling this orange, but it's got too much pink in it, so we're going to go distressed grapefruit as the color for this particular device. I've left it the way it is. I haven't cleaned it at all. You can see some mild darkening there, but for wearing it 24 hours a day for at least a couple weeks straight, and then having it off and on since then, it's held up pretty well, and it's not as disgusting because it's kind of a harder plastic. It's not the soft touch silicone type cases that get disgusting in 30 seconds. It's got a little bit more to it than that. So let's take a moment. We'll talk about the app because that's a lot of the functionality. Battery life, they claim 28 days. Not quite. I've been getting about 18, but it takes literally like an hour to charge. So I think what you could do with this is it's great for sleep functionality, which we'll talk about in the app. But if you're somebody who is able to, it's like if you have an Apple Watch or a Samsung or one of those watches that needs to be charged daily or once every 2 days, you can wear that during the day and then wear this guy at night to keep track of your sleep or when you're working out or whatever. And what's great is that the app and this device pairs in to your Apple regular health device, so it's not like you're losing any progress. If you're wearing your Apple Watch during the day and the health app is keeping track of that, then you wear this at night, it'll actually sync up that information all together, which I think is really great. And when you're talking about wearing these devices at night, it drives me absolutely nuts that when you have these devices, the battery life, number one, okay, when you got to charge your Apple device or your Samsung device every other day. But the other thing is the weight. I mean, if you're going to wear something in your sleep, this is the first watch that I wore in my sleep that I didn't mind it because it's lightweight. And when you have these big chunky watches on your wrist, number one, you're going to give your significant other a concussion if you roll around in your sleep, these big, huge devices. But they're clunky, and to me, they get in the way of my quality of sleep, which this does not. You don't even notice it's there, which is great. So we're going to pause for a second, look at the app, and then go on from there. Personally, it does work on Android without any issue. I will say one thing about the Android version, though. If you're somebody who's a little OCD about your notifications, it always shows up. Maybe there's a setting that you could fix that. Please let me know in the comments section. It always shows up in the notification on your always on display, a big white dot sitting there that it's running or something like that. That absolutely drove me nuts. This works a little bit different. Every time you open the app, it resyncs it. Now, you show in the Bluetooth that it is working fine. They're connected. There's no issue. And it does save the information and then sync it over to the app, which is good. But it doesn't, on obviously, when you're dealing with iOS, you don't have those running app notifications driving you nuts on the home screen. So here it is. It's great because it's part of a larger ecosystem for these Amazfit watches. If you have a T-Rex or something like that, you could pair them all in there and have a situation where you can just switch back and forth and not lose your information. But you also have the added backup of having the Apple overall health app keeping track of it as well, which was always early smartwatch stuff always bugged me because I'm like, well, if you have multiple ones, then you're losing some of that data. But here, it's not really an issue. Heart rate, they got that metric that they have. Sleep score, goal tracker, stuff that you could put in. You can have some information on your workouts and stuff like that. The steps, of course, it keeps track of here. The sleep thing is interesting because while, am I going to say this is the most accurate thing in the universe? No. Am I going to say, well, you should self-diagnose yourself off of something like this? No. But it does work off your heart rate. It does give you some ideas to the quality of sleep. I've noticed it somewhat accurate, that I do feel better on days when it says I'm doing better with deep sleep and light sleep and all the rest of it and REM. It's something that you could at least get a guideline on what's going on. If you're really having issues, if you're really struggling with your sleep and you're someone who didn't feel like wearing one of those clunky watches, you could wear this, kind of figure out what's going on. There are times of the night, if I try different things, do I have enough, do I get better sleep if I do something different before bed, pre-bed routine, whatever it is really important. And for $39 to at least get, like I said, not, space-aged high diagnosis here. We're not talking about that. If you're just getting an idea of things you can try, maybe before you see somebody or you're just having light sleep issues, this is something that you should definitely look into. And like I said, nice and lightweight, which is fantastic because it helps it. You don't want to rip it off your wrist at the end of the day to get some rest. You're okay keeping it on there. Also, heart rate is good to know during the day and at night. You can see if you're getting spikes for some reason, if you're anxious, all that stuff. Is it accurate down to the beat per minute? No. But for $39, is it going to be? It gives you enough of an idea. Hey, it's elevated. Why? That's kind of what you're looking for with something like this. And I think for that money, the way it kind of integrates with the Apple ecosystem, the health one, even on the Samsung, on the Android side, you can have no problem pairing this. The design is cool. If you're a kid of the 90s or the 80s, you know these watches. You love to go back to it. Overall, for that money, $39, quality product, I think. Worked well, held up well. This is something that you'd be like, kind of cheap band, plastic, how's it going to do? Listen, not a nick or scratch on it, and I've gotten nicks and scratches on my Apple Watches, my Samsung S3 Frontier, all the rest of it. I'm one that bangs my wrist into walls all the time, and this is really no worse for wear, which is great. Has zero connectivity problems. Zero. pairs right away, stays connected. If you leave the room and come back, it's not a situation where you have to go back in and repair it. So that I was really impressed with, especially like how strong of a signal could you possibly get in a device like this, but it works just fine. If you've made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Any questions, of course, leave them below in the comment section. Until next time, have that Steve-licious day.